Hi everyone, Dak Tioli here from HippocratesMD.com, and hopefully today I'll elucidate upon a topic that has had a lot of pre-meds tripping over themselves in high school, and then again years later during the application process to medical school. The question is, does my undergraduate university matter for medical school admissions? This is actually a pretty interesting topic that can be approached from several different angles. In other words, it can get a little more complex than the black and white answers that we've gone over in earlier broadcasts. In fact, for this topic, I'm going to argue both sides, and then, when it's all said and done and the smoke is cleared, I'll let you decide for yourself if your undergraduate university matters in mid-school admissions. Well, we only have 5 minutes, so let's get going. First, let's argue the conclusion that your undergraduate school does not matter. Why? Shouldn't the Ivy League student get preference over the West Virginia University student? Side note, I use WVU as the quintessential state school, one where the highest ranking falls under the partying category, and they largely aren't held in the same light as private universities. Also, I'll pick on WVU because it's my alma mater. No, despite the Ivy Leaguer's pedigree, he shouldn't be given preference for that alone. Every single applicant, from the largest, most public of state universities to the most exclusive of private institutions, has the power to differentiate themselves in a way to ensure their own success. Each applicant has the privilege to control their own destiny. Just because you go to Harvard, it doesn't mean you get a 4.0 and a fantastic MCAT score by default. Similarly, just because you go to West Virginia University, it doesn't mean that you earn a 2.0 and a terrible MCAT score no matter what you do. And in reality, there's both superstars and underperformers at every single education institution in the US. Medical schools know this. They aren't dumb. They know that the MCAT is a standardized exam, which means that the Ivy League student and the West Virginia University student that both scored a 35 on the MCAT display the same level of stamina and aptitude for the sciences. In other words, going to a lower-ranked university, your affordable state school, wherever, it will not hold you back. On my interview days, the Harvard kids did not wear a gold star on their jacket while I was given a scarlet letter. We are, for all intents and purposes, equals, differentiated only by our own personal achievements and accomplishments. And no, for this process, getting into Harvard undergrad does not count as either an achievement or an accomplishment in and of itself. If nothing else, I offer myself as an example. I'm a graduate of West Virginia University, the quintessential state school from earlier. And during my application process, I was invited to interview at a number of schools, including the likes of Mayo, University of Virginia, Duke, Brown, University of Pittsburgh, and yes, the fabled Harvard. What is the takeaway from this? Well, for one, coming from a state school did not hinder me in the medical school application process. And two, as I alluded to earlier, it is your own personal achievements and qualities that medical schools focus on. Do not turn down a college that you really want to attend for a more prestigious undergrad pedigree, simply on the assumption that you can ride on its coattails as medical schools roll out a red carpet for you. Your school doesn't differentiate you. There are thousands of state school applicants and thousands of Ivy League applicants. Adcoms have seen it all, and you should focus primarily on more important questions when choosing your undergrad, such as how much it will cost you, and if you feel that you can thrive in the learning environment that they offer. Great, but what about the other side of the coin? Does my undergraduate university matter for medical school admissions? Now let's argue, yes. But let me explain. I would be remiss to not first highlight an interesting trend that I saw on one of my interview days. Specifically, there seemed to be a pattern at many of the top schools, and I say top schools in quotes. Harvard really stood out in this regard. Let me set the scene. There I was, sitting at a large fancy conference table in a fancy meeting room in the fancy Harvard building. You know, the one with the giant marble pillars out front. Anyway, the day began with the usual activity. Everyone takes their turn around the table, introducing themselves and saying where they went to school. I was the last to speak, and the order went something like this: Harvard, Princeton, Berkeley, Stanford, Harvard, Williams College, Columbia, MIT, West Virginia University. Yeah, interesting. At first glance, two conclusions ran through my mind. One, well, obviously I received my invitation by accident, and two, I think this medical school is showing a little bit of favoritism when it comes to picking their interviewees. It didn't even take 5 minutes for one of those prior conclusions to be shattered and a new one formed. After everyone in the meeting room said where they were from, they went around the table again. This time, each person offered up a short 2-minute monologue, explaining their personal accomplishments, achievements, research endeavors, and future aspirations. All I could think was, wow, these were some of the most impressive young people that I have ever met. I'm talking extravagant CVs and starting up huge, successful nonprofits in troubled countries. That type of impressive. And that is when my old conclusion was replaced with a new one. While there might be a seemingly disproportionate percentage of successful applicants that hail from prestigious undergrad programs, it isn't necessarily because of the university name that will be stamped on their diploma. It is because so many of these highly motivated and intelligent students take full advantage of the surplus of opportunities available to them at their schools. They take advantage of the networking. They take advantage of the excellent research mentorship. They take advantage of the support for entrepreneurship. They take advantage of thinking outside the box. For the most part, the type of high school student that gets into the top undergrad schools will be the same type of pre-med that possesses a determination and drive to defeat the MCAT and do well in their classes, all while juggling a wide array of outside extracurriculars. It's not a big surprise that these same people often ended up making the majority on my interview days. They earned it, and I guess I earned it too, from West Virginia University. which means that you can earn it too, I promise. If you do your part and do your best, your undergraduate school won't be a factor that gets you into medical school, or keep you out of it. The only factor that has that level of control can be found in the nearest mirror. And for the record, I still think I received that Harvard invitation by accident. I hope you found this broadcast useful, and best wishes with your decisions.